For years, if you wanted to play retro games from the comfort of your couch, you'd have to spend lots of money on the system, not to mention the games that go with it. And that can get expensive. Or you could use emulators. But who wants to be hunched over a keyboard? In recent years, the comfort of playing games with a console and the convenience of emulators have combined. The RetroPie. Today, I'm going to give a quick overview of my RetroPie setup. So here's my RetroPie setup. Next to it is my wired Switch controller that I use for it. And it's just sitting in a nondescript black Raspberry Pi case. And next to it is my Roku for television. And then down there is the Switch. Now, you'll have to excuse my guerrilla-style videography. I don't have a capture device yet, and so when I do get one, my videos that I make with my RetroPie, I'll use the capture card. So let's take a look at some of the games we got going here. I was playing Kid Icarus earlier, so let's just see how the NES fares. I've got the TV muted. Let's unmute that. Now, I never claimed to be very good at video games, so maybe in these future videos I will get better over time. Playing with the Switch controller is a pretty weird feeling because without... I can't describe while I'm playing the game. It's not laid out the same as an NES controller, which I do have, it's just not here. And it's pretty costly to collect for, like I said. So, that's Kid Icarus, and I just press the hotkey and then start and select to exit. Try Kung Fu. Now, I do have the bezel project installed, which means I get to see some pretty cool bezels for these games, which is a really nice feature. So it adds a little bit more to the charm of playing these games. Because NES especially is presented in 4:3 aspect ratio, and most TVs now are 16:9, you either have a bunch of white space, or black space rather, or, in this case, bezels. Now, I never claimed to be good at any of these video games. That's part of why I bought it, so I can experience the classics. And I think for most people that's going to be the way to do it, because collecting for consoles is notoriously expensive, especially when you get to collector's items and collector's games. A lot of games, especially like new in box, they're expensive, and not everybody can afford that. Especially me, I'm a college student. I can't afford a budget like that. I can only try to replicate the feeling of playing the games, but not necessarily on the hardware. As in addition to NES, I've got Super Nintendo. These are some SNES hacks, and I can imagine that the background music is very loud. I'll turn it down. SNES, N64, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis. Let's take a look at some cool Sega Genesis games. I got 32X as well. Let's take a look at Earthworm Jim. That's a nice Sega Genesis game. The RetroPie doesn't handle Nintendo 64 very well, and I don't actually have it overclocked. I don't know if having it overclocked would change anything, but I don't. So, the bezels for Earthworm Jim are pretty cool too. So I can remember how to control. It's kind of hard to control a Sega Genesis game with a Nintendo layout controller. Controls are going to take a little bit getting used to because I'm so used to playing NES games, especially with the NES controller, and playing with the Switch controller isn't quite as intuitive as you might think. It doesn't quite feel as good. The D-pad on the Switch wired controller isn't as good as it is on other, like a Wii U Pro controller, which I also have and I'll probably try out for the RetroPie eventually. Maybe I'll make a video on that. Yeah, okay. So, I'm not very good with video games, but the point is, the RetroPie is a very great, very affordable way to play a bunch of retro games that you may not be able to collect for if you don't have the systems. All of these systems can be very expensive to collect for if you don't have them, so the RetroPie is a great alternative for those wanting to play games but don't necessarily have the funds to support a full collection. I will say that emulating isn't in and of itself illegal. The process of acquiring game ROMs can be illegal gray area, so I won't get into how these games were acquired, but they can be acquired if you look hard enough. Anyway, that's going to do it for this review. I will see you in the next one.